Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me for today's video. Kind of an overview and review of what we think about the Horizons kindergarten curriculum so far. We are currently on lesson 88, so that's just over halfway through the curriculum for the whole year. So there's 160 lessons total. We just finished book 2 in the language arts and are moving on to book 3. So I just want to talk about the language arts first, and then we'll hit on math and health a little bit. For the Horizons language arts, there are 4 different books. These are the first 2. This is book 1, and then book 2. Those are the student books. And then, of course, you have your teacher's guide that goes along with them. So there are 4 student books, 4 teacher's guides, and then along with those, there are 4 little readers. I seem to be missing the first reader, but anyway, they look like this. So just little stories for your child to read. I want to talk first about the positives of this curriculum. So what I think is great is that it starts off super easy, like just the letters of the alphabet. So here's like lesson 3, so just doing letter D, keeping it really simple, printing the letters and all of that. And then by the end of book 1, you are going to be doing blends and just kind of learning more how to write sentences. So it really progresses very quickly. If your child is a struggling reader writer, then it may not be a good fit. I feel like my son, for 5 years old, is pretty advanced for his age. This has been perfect as far as that. Now, some of the negatives I'll say about the language arts are the length of the lessons. So some of the lessons I feel like are really reasonable. Like they're, 2 pages front and back, which I feel like is about a good length. So like, let's look at this one. So this is, so it has that where you just circle which ones have the blend. And then here you practice writing it. And then again, you circle which ones have that sound. You match the pictures that rhyme. And then it has these ones, more matching, a word search, and then a couple sentences to write, and one more section of matching, and then you would move on to the next day. So it's 2 pages front and back, which I found for my son, the lessons that are 2 pages front and back, so I guess 4 pages total, are a very reasonable length for him that he enjoys and he doesn't have a problem with. But then for another example, this one's a little bit more advanced. This is in the second book, but just showing the different lesson lengths. So this one's NG. Again, you start by circling which one has that blend, and then you're going to write the ones you circled. So that's the first page. And then on the back of this one, choosing the correct ones, matching them up, choosing the correct endings, and then underlining nouns, circling the words your teacher reads, choosing the correct sentence that matches the picture. So this is page 2. So this is the back of page 1 and then page 2. And then the back of page 2, we're going to match the pictures that rhyme. And then we're going to write a sentence. And then page 3, we're going to choose the correct word that matches in the sentence. So writing again. And then the back of page 3, we are choosing the word from the word bank to fill in. So that is 3 pages front and back, so a total of 6 pages. And on the days when we have this long of lessons, I feel like my son gets really defeated, and like ahead of time, he's already kind of frustrated. Like he'll look ahead and be like, I just want to see how long today is. And he'll look through, and when he sees that they're like 3 or 4 pages front and back, it's like 6 or 8 pages, he gets really discouraged and he's like, oh, I don't want to do it. So that's one thing that we don't really like, is just the inconsistency in the length of the lessons. And I understand that some things are a little more complex and they want to give the children more practice, but I feel like some of the days it is unreasonably long and it gets way too repetitive, like writing long sentences, and there's just so much writing. And for a 5-year-old, I feel like that can get overwhelming. And obviously I don't want to make him have a negative opinion about school or not want to do it. So that's one of our big negatives with this curriculum. Another thing I'll say is that like some of it's just a little odd, like the pictures that it shows. I find that we have to use the teacher book a lot because it'll have, like, I'm trying to find an example. But like, you're supposed to know that this lady is named Jan. Like, what? Yeah, there's another one, Beth, and just things like that where like it'll be fill in the word and my son's like, wait, what is this word? And so it uses a lot of weird things too, that I feel like here's one, it's a beard and it's saying whiskers. Just stuff that I feel like words a kindergarten wouldn't know or use. So we come across that frequently, but luckily I do have the teacher's manuals because I bought the whole curriculum box. So that's not too big of a deal, but I would say those are the main things. Just the inconsistency in the length of the lessons, and then some of the weird pictures are kind of our main complaints with the language arts. One of the things we love is the readers. The readers are great. My son is doing so well. Went from being able to read maybe a sentence or two on his own to reading like these whole stories. So like this one's this page and then these 2 pages, and he'll read these completely, almost completely on his own, so without much help from me. I mean, I'll help him with a word here or there, but he pretty much reads these independently, which I think is amazing. This is definitely a challenging curriculum, but it's one that I feel like is going to set your child up for success as far as the language arts. Now, I will say, just because of the sheer length and the intensity, I am looking into other curriculums for next year if we do decide to homeschool again. So I'm not sure if I will use the Horizons. I'll update back on that once we're done with the whole year. This is just kind of a mid-year update. So moving on to the math. This is the math curriculum. So every math lesson in here is 1 page front and back. So like 1 and then the back of 1. So they're really short, and my son actually enjoys the math. It's short, it's pretty easy, but I feel like he's learning quickly and doing well. Right now he's working mostly on money and addition problems and calendars. That was a recent page that we did where you say how much the money is, and then writing the numbers that become before, after, between, things like that. He can count to 100. He knows the months of the year, the months in a week. He can look at a calendar and tell you like the first, second, third day of the week, all of that stuff. So I feel like the math is really good because they keep it very concise. The lessons maybe take 20 to 25 minutes a day, but I feel like the pace is good. It's not too slow or too fast, and it is a spiral method, so it comes back to the concept. So concepts you learned like 20 lessons ago, it does revisit that periodically. So just to make sure that you still have that and that you haven't forgotten anything, which I really appreciate. Another thing I wanted to say just on the language arts and the math and the health is the teacher's guides I feel like are really good. So they're pretty much open and go. It has everything you need. It has all the answers to all the kids' problems, and it basically tells you exactly what to do. So just for example, I just opened up the math book. This is lesson 14 on pennies. So like it literally tells you right here, read the instruction, point out the dotted lines that divide the parts of the activity. Have them count the pennies in the first box. Have them circle the correct number of pennies they counted. Count the pennies in the second box and have them circle the number they choose. Read the instruction to the class. Review the number 6 on the whiteboard. Have them trace the first 6 with their pencil. Then have them trace the next dotted 3 6s. Discuss spacing between numbers. Have them write 3 more 6s. Have them trace 1 to 6. Have them write 1 to 6 on the bottom 2 lines. So it spells it out completely for you. The language arts is pretty much the same. It is like open and go. When you get to the health, there is more preparation that's required for some of the activities. So like for example, I find it's important, obviously, I'm sure this is with any homeschool, but to kind of read over the lessons and prep ahead of time just so you know what you'll need. Like for example, when we were doing the senses for sense of smell, there's show students a glass of water and a glass of white vinegar. Then ask them what they think the 2 glasses contain. They will probably say both contain water. Let them take turns smelling the contents of the 2 glasses. Elicit from students how they know that one is liquid, one liquid is not water. Can they identify both liquids by their sense of smell? And then number 2, take students on an imaginary walk and identify smells on the way. Get them involved by chanting together, we're going for a walk. Where are we going? We're going to the bakery. What do we smell? We smell bread. Suggest or let students suggest other bakery smells to continue the chant. Move on from the bakery to another location such as garage, gasoline, park, flower, skunk grass, or kitchen, onions, fish, or chicken frying. Talk about ways our sense of smell can keep us safe, smelling smoke or burning. And then it'll say student activity, refer to activities 1 and 2 in the workbook, have them trace, yada, yada, yada. And then it even tells you what to say for the closure. So it'll say closure. One of our 5 senses is the sense of smell. There are many wonderful smells. One reason God gives us a sense of smell is to help keep us safe. So it's like fully laid out. There's not much prep other than like when there's little experiments like that. Obviously you want to have vinegar, water, glasses, and everything for this one, or to know like, oh, we're going to take a walk today, or we're going to do this or that. So that's helpful for the health, and it does have a lot of lessons in here that suggest certain books to read to go along with the lesson, or certain songs to listen to. So like to be able to Google those ahead of time and have them, or find the songs on YouTube, that sort of thing. That can be sometimes hard with the health. Like I've had a hard time finding some of the resources it lists, which in that case we just skip them and don't include it, and I'll just use something else instead. But some of the songs I haven't been able to find anywhere, or some of the books as well. So that's something with the health. Overall, I think it's good. You know, for kindergarten, we're trying to keep it very simple and fun, but I feel like as a science curriculum, it's a little bit lacking. Like obviously it's health, but I feel like it's very surface level, and I feel like it could be a little bit more in depth. I mean, obviously this is for 5 and 6 year olds, so you're not going to go crazy into anatomy and stuff, but I just feel like sometimes it's a little too basic, if that makes sense. My son has a lot of fun with the health. I don't know if you can see behind me here, but like there are fun projects we do. Like this was a health train that it had us build, so we made different cars for the train, like exercise every day, get enough rest, eat right, brush your teeth, all that good stuff. So he has a lot of fun with those kind of activities, so he enjoys the health. But I think if we do continue to homeschool next year, I will look for something with a little bit more of a rigorous science curriculum, and maybe something a little bit different. The other thing overall that I will say about the Horizons is I really wanted a biblically based curriculum to just instill that strong faith in my child, which I know we do through our own quiet time and prayer together and everything like that. But this curriculum, I feel like it mentions God somewhat in the health, particularly like you heard, oh, God gave us the sense of smell, but that's like all it says. So there's not a lot of like Christianity tied in. Like the writing book doesn't have like writing verses or things like that. Like occasionally it'll have you write a sentence like, I enjoy going to church, or something like that. But I wouldn't necessarily call it like a biblically based curriculum. Like I feel like you could leave out a couple words and make it totally secular, if that makes sense. So I guess for some people that may be a pro. For me, it's a little bit of a con. Overall, I'd say that for half the year through, we're very happy with the Horizons curriculum so far. If we homeschool next year, which it's on the fence for multiple reasons, I would definitely highly consider using the math again. And the language arts, I'm not sure on, just because of the things I said. Sometimes my son gets frustrated at the length of lessons. It can be a little overwhelming and a little much. But overall, it is a good, solid foundation. Like, I feel like he is light years ahead of where I expect him to be at 5.5 years old, and like his reading level particularly. His curriculum has been amazing for him with that. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. We are looking forward to doing the second half of the year and finishing out with the Horizons, and then just seeing where the future leads for our next school year. I'm just so happy that we decided to quit with the public virtual school and go to homeschool, finish out this year. It's been such a blessing, and I am so thankful and so thrilled to see that my son is thriving and doing so well, and it's been great in so many ways. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions or want to know more, feel free to leave me a comment down below. I will try to get back to you. If you used Horizons and ended up switching to something else or sticking with it, just please let me know your experience in the comments below. I would be very curious to learn just how it's worked for other people or why it didn't work, especially for like first grade and up, because obviously next year my son will be first grade next fall. So if you'd like to leave me a comment, that would be great. Or any questions, like I said, leave them below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and hit that like button, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.